Velsura. That time I got sent back in time as a slime, by Lobotomiskii. Chapter 12 Before the Storm 3rd Pov. Many races are gathered within the caves of the Lizardman settlement. Anger, frustration, and animosity are all present inside these walls. Many of the different races were still in conflict before the crisis arrived in the Jura forest, forcing them to reluctantly join forces to face a common enemy. Eventually, the silence is broken by a certain equinoid. Oi! What the hell are we here for? The orcs have already up and gone away. Why are we still here preparing to fight them? The equinoid yells with annoyance. It's clear already that the orc lord ain't gonna attack us, so let us leave already. Next, a gruff-sounding bovoid decides to speak up. As much as I hate to agree with that horse-faced bastard, I'm even more annoyed at the fact that we are all camped up in this soggy cave preparing for a battle that probably won't happen. The crowd of monsters inside the cave murmur, debating whether to follow the lizardmen and fight the orcs, or to leave. This is mad. Everyone turns to a corner of the throne room, where an old rabbitman, stood upon a rock to be seen above the crowd, is speaking. You lizard bastards can't keep us all holed up in here. Why should we fight some shitty orcs when they clearly aren't interested in fighting us? I say we should all just storm out of this damn cave. Much of the crowd inside the hall, especially groups of the weaker races, begin trying the storm out of the hall. Silence. A female lizardman, stood beside the chieftain, shouts. At her command, many of the lizardman guards move to block the gate with their spears, halting the charging horde of demi-humans. Allow the chieftain to speak first. On cue, the chieftain stands up from his throne, and clears his throat. I understand that many of you are agitated, being forced to fight an unknown and powerful threat. I understand that many of you wish to leave and return to your homes, and I swear that after I finish speaking, I will allow all of you to leave. However, you are wrong in believing that the Orc Lord is not a threat to you. The Orc Lord and his army of vile beasts will slaughter all the inhabitants of this forest. You've likely already heard the news of smaller settlements in the path of the orcs being squashed, their inhabitants eaten by the orcs. The only reason the orcs haven't eaten us yet is because they are targeting a stronger force lurking within the forest, whoever that may be. After they are done with that, they will certainly come back and devour us all. Is that what you want? Chaos erupts within the crowd, with some agreeing to the lizardman's plea, cheering for the defeat of the orcs, while others boo the chieftain, some taking up arms and preparing to storm out the hall, even if they have to fight their way through. The equinoid points a finger at the chieftain. You're a fool, lizardman. If you want us to help you fight an unwinnable war, then maybe you should pray to that dragon ancestor of yours for protection. The bovoid scoffs. As expected of the Mezu to back down from a challenge in fear. Esgozu, however, simply don't see why we should attack these lowly orcs. We have better things to do than to be here, old man. The equinoid snarls in rage, charging at the bovoids. A huge fight breaks out in the middle of the lizardman's throne room, further escalating the chaos. The lizardmen desperately try to keep the situation under control, but to no avail. Listen here, little ones. All heads in the room turn to look at the tall, muscular human standing at the entrance of the hall. It wasn't the booming voice that stole their attention, but the massive, oppressive aura that the human was emitting. I, Rimuru Tempest, have arrived on the scene. Veldora Pov. That was truly an excellent entrance, as expected by me. To my sides, Trainee and Gabiru appear, followed behind by 20 dragonoots. The crowd murmurs. Hashtag who is that? Hashtag Paw. Such an arrogant fool. Who even is he? Hashtag but that oppressive aura. That person is certainly strong. And dash no way, air those dragonoots. I've never heard of any Rimuru Tempest, but he seems strong. I would love to fight him. HMPH. It seems many of these fools don't recognize my greatness. After they become citizens of my empire, I will surely teach them some manners. Kua ha ha ha. Silence. Gabiru barks in a similar fashion to his sister. We're here to recruit warriors to fight the Orc Lord. Anyone who is strong and willing to fight may come. Gabiru declares arrogantly, perhaps expecting cheers, but is only met by angry glares. Gabiru, my dear subordinate. You have much to learn about addressing crowds. If it was not for my presence, these people would have all jumped and attacked you, but worry not, for I will show you the way. Kua ha ha ha. What? A dude who looks like a horse-eyes Gabiru with utter hatred. What kind of bullshit is that? Maybe I should beat the shit out of you in. Cut it out. Horse face. Another centaur-looking dude yells in a panic. Dumbass. We're in the presence of a dryad. He looks to the ground, as if consigning himself to a terrible fate. Indeed. I am Trainee, the eldest of the dryad sisters. The horse dude looks at Trainee in bewilderment. No way. But the dryads haven't shown themselves in 100 years. Why are they here with a bunch of arrogant losers? The horse dude's rude attitude is starting to piss me off, so I increase the output of my aura. Trainee, meanwhile, feels a wave of killing intent directed at her. HMPH. How dare she steal the attention that should be on me? I'm clearly more important here. Ahem. Everyone, as I just said, my name is Rimuru Tempest. As you all know, the orcs are rampaging in the Jura forest, and they're going to attack my city next. That's why I want to recruit some of the strongest warriors here to fight the orcs with me. The crowd immediately shouts in protest, but I ignore them and continue. Of course, there will be rewards. Every warrior that participates, as well as their tribes, will receive names, as well as citizenship passes for my future empire. Kua ha ha ha, generous, isn't it? Immediately, the crowd silences. The different tribes begin to discuss among themselves, seriously considering my offer. Meanwhile, in my stomach, a cry for help is heard, but not answered. I apologize for doubting you, Mr. Tempest, but are you truly able to name so many monsters? The chieftain voices his concerns, but is interrupted by his son. Father, as you can see, Lord Rimuru has named every member of our delegation, as well as myself, causing us to evolve into dragonutes. Gabiru poses in a way that allows him to flex his new wings. The mocking tone of many groups in the crowd disappears, and more people start to consider my proposal. From deep within the crowd, a brown-haired rabbit girl jumps up. I volunteer, if it isn't Flamia. I will fight the orc lord with you, even if it means my death. As long as my entire tribe receives names, I'll do it. She looks at me with a determined expression. Her father, meanwhile, looks like he isn't having it. However, he is quickly silenced by the other members of his tribe, who are gladly willing to sacrifice one of their own if it means that they will receive a name. Kua ha ha ha, I commend your bravery, little rabbit girl. The lizard man chieftain, who was in thought until now, finally answered. Very well, Sir Tempest. Even though you have many dragonutes already, I would gladly send you more soldiers. With the approval of the lizard man chieftain, many of the other tribes began to send out their warriors. Of course, most of them only sent out one warrior, probably using them as a sacrifice for their whole village to get named. I ended up with a mishmash of different races, differing massively in strength. This won't work. That poor kobold over there looks like he's about to shit himself. If only there was a way to. Kua ha ha ha. Of course, I forgot that I have a reliable partner skilled to help me now. Great sage. Analyze all of them and choose 30 of the strongest. Understood. Analyzing targets. Complete. I grin. I'm truly glad that I now have such a reliable skill, but now, I kind of feel like the world was favored towards my brother from the very start. Ahem. I commend you all for your courage to stand up here and fight, but I can only bring along 30 of you. I address each of the 30 strongest monsters, and give them a name. Many of them were people I already knew in the previous timeline, like Soka and her friends. Somehow, Flamia just so happened to be there too. Kua ha ha ha, how interesting. After a short ceremony, I bring the mixed group of monsters to the place where the Tempest wolves were waiting. Each wolf could carry 2 monsters on their back, and could travel from here to Tempest in 2 to 3 days. Ranga. Bring them back to Rimuru City. I ordered the Star Wolf who was leading the pack, before waving goodbye. Good luck, and see you at Tempest. Kua ha ha ha. I, followed by Gabiru and the dragonutes, blasted off into the sky towards Tempest, leaving behind a trail of smoke. 2 days later. Lord Rimuru, the ogres have arrived. Riguri, who just returned from a scouting mission, reported to me. I waited at the gate of the city, and soon enough, 24 ogres riding wolves appeared on the horizon. The blue-haired ogre dismounts his wolf, followed by the ogre chief and his son. So you're the person he spoke so highly about, the chief's son coldly remarked, unimpressed. Ho! Is that so? Then I shall show you the power of the great Veldora Tempest. In response to the red-haired ogre's rudeness, I released a strong aura that petrified the ogres. I apologize for the rudeness of my son. The ogre chief bowed his head, while forcing his son to do the same. I see now that you are truly strong enough to be our master. Kua ha ha ha, of course. You are all welcome to become my subordinates, however, I might have to teach Benny over there some manners later. Who's Ben? Never mind. From what I heard, you gave 100 lizardmen names, and evolved them into dragonutes. Would you happen to have some magicules to spare for us? Who do you think I am? I am the great Rimuru Tempest. Of course I can provide you with such simple things like names. Now line up and prepare to be named. Kua ha ha ha. I quickly named all of the ogres, while siphoning off magicules from my other self to prevent myself from falling into a sleep. I'm sorry, other me. I know what it feels like to be mistreated like this. I promise I will give you as much food as possible. HMPH. You better. Coincidentally, the other group of monsters arrived immediately after I finished naming the ogres. Kua ha ha ha. Welcome, everyone, to Rimuru City. I grinned smugly at the new arrivals, who could only look on in shock at my wonderful creation. This place. It's even more developed than most of the human settlements. Flamia's eyes glowed as she jumped around like an excited child. I never expected such a place to exist within the Jura forest. So this is the target of the orcs' attack. The ogre chief, Akamaru, mutters in a somber tone. Such a beautiful place should not be allowed to be trampled by those pigs, the newly named Shian shouted in anger. Kua ha ha ha. As if Rimuru City has, and will stand the test of time. Not even Falmouth or the Eastern Empire would stand a chance against us. My subordinates, both new and old, immediately showered me with praise. As expected of Rimuru-sama, now, even though I surely deserve all this praise, we have more important matters to discuss. I hold my hand up, before pointing a finger at a very conspicuously golden building in the center of the city. To the war room. Nani. How could I not have anticipated this? No, he's simply not acting like he's supposed to. The plan was perfect. I was going to make an alliance of all races in the Jura forest, with the lizardmen at its center. And with _'s help, that dumb lizard Gabiru would surely turn them against that slime. Even if, by a sheer stroke of luck, that slimy bastard manages to defeat Geld, the alliance would pounce on him immediately, finishing him off for good. So why? How has he made them his subordinates? This simply shouldn't have happened. URK. Never mind. I shouldn't dwell on this. I simply lost a contingency plan, after all. Even with the help of all the races in the Jura forest, the chances of him defeating the orc disaster are next to nothing. No matter what you do, Rimuru Tempest, this time, I will absolutely kill you.